reason we don't want Putin to get involved in this, and so we want to try and involve him in this decision so that he allows Ukraine to go. We actually want a non-exclusive relationship with Ukraine. You can have a relationship with it too.
You're the only one making this into a girlfriend-boyfriend relationship.
Ukraine is basically choosing its future between two completely different courses of action, and we're trying to blur that choice so the old boyfriend doesn't get too upset when it makes the right choice towards us.
So it's just all these George Soros-funded NGOs were funding the militias on the ground who were overthrowing the government, and then there's a tape of Victoria Nuland, who's was at the State Department at the time, one of the top people at the State Department, and she was basically talking about who would be the new government that took over, who America didn't want in, who we did want in the new government. So it's not, what happened basically was, as Gideon Rose was even saying, the Ukrainian government was kind of siding with Russia, or at least a lot more pro-Russia, and then we overthrew that government and installed a pro-America government. And this to Putin, he had said over and over again, was a huge red line for him. Like Ukraine was the big line. And you could imagine, take it from our point of view, if like Russia was coming over here and overthrowing the pro-America government in Montreal and installing a pro-Russia government there. Right. And, this would be seen as, would you call that an unprovoked attack? Right. If we were to go in there and then go overthrow that government. Jesus so again, I'm not justifying what he's doing, and then the other thing to this, right, that's important to add is you remember the two big things that it's so weird no one, at least in the larger conversation, I don't see anyone connecting these things, is that there's two things involving Ukraine that were very big, that happened very recently in American history, that very much connect to this war. And one is that our last president was impeached over a thing with Ukraine. And what was that? And then the other thing is the current president's son was getting paid millions of dollars from a company, Burisma, in Ukraine. And these things all connect. And basically what happened was after the 2014 coup, this company, Burisma, and by the way, Matt Taibbi has done incredible reporting on this. I highly recommend everyone read his stuff, his Substacks. Incredible. Yeah, he's
fantastic.
Unbelievable. But so basically, Burisma was in bed with the old government that had allied with Russia. And so when this government was overthrown, they were very worried because they were like, oh, we were in bed with the old government and now there's this new government who's in there. And so instead of bribing the new government, they just went right to the source and bribed the son of the sitting vice president. Joe Biden, when he was vice president, was in charge of Ukraine policy. Oh my God. So they just went, that was why they put him there. And then they put some other CIA guy or something like that on their board. They're just paying him money to just be like, hey, keep us in with you. And then Trump was telling them to investigate all of this shit. He got on the phone with them and was like, I want to investigate everything that was going on with Joe and Hunter Biden in Ukraine. And Donald Trump did. He got into an area that there's an argument it was not okay what he was doing, because he was kind of going maybe you don't get these weapons that I was going to send in unless you go investigate them. And this was his political opponent. So it was a little bit of a shady thing. But then the other story about that is that ultimately Trump caved and he sent in the weapons to Ukraine. So now not only did Obama overthrow the regime when Joe Biden was the point man, Joe Biden was running Ukraine policy, Obama leads this coup, overthrows that government and puts in a pro-Western government. Then Trump comes in, sends in a whole bunch of weapons to this new government that Obama wouldn't even send in because he was concerned it would provoke Russia. And then the next president is Joe Biden, the last guy who was the point man on Ukraine, who was there when this coup happened. Then he comes back in. And this is all the context that led to Vladimir Putin invading Ukraine. So again, I'm not saying, and the other little thing I should mention there too is that Donbass region on the eastern portion of Ukraine is majority ethnic Russians. And they got really pissed off when the new government came in 2014, and they were basically warring with the Kiev western portion of Ukraine since then.